Hello friends, my name is Jason. Today we're going to walk through a couple of trades, take a look at how we made some decisions on NVDA and how those resulted in profitable plays using technical analysis. I love teaching technical analysis, and I think one of the biggest holes we have in teaching this is applying theory. You've all seen Dan's videos where he is talking about higher lows and breakouts and oversold bounces. That's great, but when it actually comes time to making those trade decisions, how do we actually apply that theory? That's what I like to do. And that's what a lot of what we do in ChartGuys is all about. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a peek into how we operate inside the ChartGuys community. I'm going to do that by walking through 2 trades on NVDA and perhaps a couple other ones that we talked about today. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the daily time frame. NVIDIA has been on a crazy bull run. We had ourselves a daily bull flag. It has continued. Bulls are in complete control. And we have to sort of let the bulls be in control until they tell us that they're not in control. And that's where the higher lows and higher highs come into play. So when we look at NVIDIA today on the 5-minute time frame, we can see we had a massive move in one direction and we had a pretty substantial move in the other direction. The question is, how could we know that these were overdue to happen? How do we know when they're happening? And how do we apply the oversold bounce theory and the breakout theory into actual practice? Well, I'm going to walk through 2 trades. The first one's going to be an oversold bounce. The second one's going to be a breakout. And we're going to talk about entry rationale, exit rationale, and how that all work together. So one of the first things to do is to look at the overall chart setup. We've already checked the daily time frame. What's really important is going to be those hourly higher lows. Now, the bulls have been setting these higher highs and these higher lows pretty consistently. So after breaking 712.50, we got to give the bears an opportunity to make their move. Right? We're getting higher highs, but we're also getting higher lows. We have to allow the other opposing side an opportunity to flex their muscle, push the price down, and that is really just a natural evolution of what we've already seen develop over the past week. So what we can do with this information is go and plot in our last hourly higher low and say anything over 677.34 is going to be an hourly higher low. And that gives us a lot of breathing room for us to look for oversold bounce potential. And that is exactly what we saw in our first trade today. So let's go take a look at how the chart looked as we are diving into that oversold position. Here we are. So this is our chart this morning. We are 2-minute oversold. It's about 8:44 Pacific time. Our 5-minute time frame is oversold. Our 15-minute time frame dipped into oversold. And you know what? At this point, some of our spidey senses are going off. We're looking for an hourly higher low. We are looking at this lower highs and lower lows in the 2-minute time frame. It is picking up pace. We know we're oversold on multiple time frames, and to top it off, we got ourselves an increase in overall volume, which often indicates an area of reversal. So at this point, Dan jumps on the old Slack and says, I'm going to start our NVDA bounce, and I'm going to be looking for a 2-minute lower high and a break even. So that's a good way to look at this as we set up. We look at our lows. Here's our volume climax. We take our entry at 843, which is right about in between those 2 candles. And then we get ourselves a nice little move to the upside. So what was a big kicker here? It was the volume. It was the fact that we were oversold in multiple places. And yes, we're going to be scaling into this. We're going to do a starter. That's what Dan talked about. We'll do 1 entry here. If we go a little bit lower, we're still oversold. The difficulty in these oversold bounces is you don't have a clear bottom. You don't have a horizontal resistance. You don't have a broadening formation support that you can play against. So you got to stake multiple entries and trust in the faith of that hourly higher low and that hourly chart, and trust that it is going to guide you back to the upside. Get a price action confirmation, and as we move ahead, we really have 2 options. We can scale out as we approach a key EMA or perhaps a 699.71 area of resistance, or we can just keep setting 5-minute higher lows, and that's what I'm going to focus on now. Look at that beautiful bounce on the 5-minute time frame. Consistent higher lows on every low of our candlestick. We get up to our EMA 26 and start to see a little bit of hesitation. Perfect play of the EMA 26 as a guide. Now on a bounce, that's a nice healthy bounce. So we're going to expect overall higher highs and higher lows to continue. When we have an oversold bounce, our EMA 26 and EMA 12 are our guides. Generally, we get to our EMA 12. That's a blue line here. If we get above that, things are looking a little bit healthier. For that reason, we'll start watching our 5-minute higher lows. 687.71, then we get one right above that, get a higher high, and we keep maintaining these levels as we move forward. So a beautiful little oversold bounce. Let's recap. Why were we interested in that? We were looking for an hourly higher low position. We were looking for 5-minute oversold, 2-minute oversold, 15-minute oversold in combination with a volume climax. We scaled in, scaled out, and we wanted to, if we wanted to, we could ride those 5-minute higher lows for the duration of the day. Now, if I remember correctly, Dan jumped out of this trade just before 9, so somewhere in here. The other option, of course, would be to allow the bulls to develop this 2-minute and 5-minute uptrend and get these higher lows going. And essentially all you would do at that point is walk up your stops. If you lose one of these key levels, then you set a stop loss, take your profits, and walk away a happy person. That's what good trading is all about. All right. Now I have another trade actually for NVDA that's set up a little bit differently. And this one was a key level breakout into resistance. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to stick with this chart now. We're going to keep going forward with the chart replay feature. And what should stand out pretty quickly here is that we have a major resistance at 699. We see some pullback from it. And at that point, we have a triple, almost perhaps a quintuple top. Each of these candlesticks grinding that 699 level of resistance. And that stands out to me, A, because it's a clear area of resistance for us to get across, and we have consecutive 5-minute higher lows. So the bulls are pushing up the price, really grinding against that 699 level. And I'm interested in buying a break of that 699 level for that reason. So as we're watching this develop, I post in the Slack community and I say, hey, we've got the bulls here gearing up for a break over 699. If they can manage to pull that off, our stop loss is going to be around 695.50, and our target for this trade is really just 703.40. So we go back to our trade. Here's our 699. We're going to set our stop loss down here because we're allowing for the bulls to set these 5-minute higher lows, and our resistance is right here, 703.40. That's a nice run. That's a nice break from our, well, it's almost a 700 psychological break right up to 703.40. And as we see this develop, we get a little uptick in volume right there. We get our break and we get some half decent little follow through. We keep our 5-minute higher lows intact and we keep moving those up every opportunity we get. So 697.12 and right up here to 698.65. We keep the price moving, and what do you know? We hit our target and we're golden. And in fact, I think we end the day pretty positively. Let's go here. Let's go ahead and close our window. There we go, 704.76. So 2 opportunities here on NVDA using 2 different strategies, our oversold bounce and then our breakout over 699. Both of those, we would walk up our 5-minute higher low stops and allow the bulls a lot of breathing room to continue to push the price as high as they want to go. And they will use price action to tell us when they're no longer interested in that upside grind. Last thing I want to do here is show you a really interesting chart on the NVDA hourly time frame. And here it is. We have a nice, consistent hourly channel, higher highs, higher lows. And let's go and draw this out. So what I'm going to do is grab my tool here. I am going to make sure my magnets are on because I want to minimize as much human error as possible. I'm going to connect to the top of this green candlestick and the top of this green candlestick. And what I'm going to do is bring this down to the lowest point that I can inside this range that encompasses the vast majority of the data. So I try to draw on the bottoms of my red candlesticks. This is the bottom point of the flag, the 619.01 level. I'm going to drag it all the way down if it'll let me, and I'll go right there. And what do you know? It works out pretty well. Here's a confirmation at 636.13, another one here, we get close to it. And when we get into our hourly oversold condition, let's go take a look at what that looked like. 5-minute time frame, we come down, we dip below pattern, but bulls managed to pull it together with that beautiful oversold bounce, get back into pattern, confirm a 5-minute hold of support, and start developing the 5-minute grind back up inside this channel, and we look great for continuation at this point. So going into tomorrow, the most likely outcome is going to be a nice little consolidation play and a further breakout inside this range. If we lose today's low of day, well, of course, we're going to be falling well outside of pattern at that point. So we would switch to a bearish mindset, adjust our trades, hopefully find some more success. If this is useful to you guys, this is exactly what we do all day, every day in the chart, guys. We love to find plays. We like to talk about technical analysis, and we like to use the charts to reduce our risk. We look at the most likely outcomes given the circumstances, place trades, place our stops, and place our targets, and collect the profit every day as much as we can. Hopefully it was a useful video for you. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and appreciate everyone else in the community, and have a great day.